Are you new to PowerPoint? Do you get intimidated looking at all these buttons, tools and tabs? Trust me, you don't need to know all of it to create your next PowerPoint presentation. Well, in this tutorial, we are going to look at how to get started on using Microsoft PowerPoint. So in short, this is a beginner's guide to learning PowerPoint. In these 30 minutes, we are going to teach you all the basics that you need to know to create a simple yet effective presentation. So without any further delay, let's begin.
So we are going to begin with the very basic, how to add a new slide, also how to open a new presentation or a PowerPoint. In order to open a new PowerPoint, go to your Windows tab and you will see the PowerPoint icon on the left hand side. In my case, I have already pinned it so I can see it over here. All I need to do is click on this icon and a new PowerPoint deck will open right in front of me, which will be a blank deck. Alternatively, if you have a PowerPoint presentation already open and you want to open another blank presentation, all you have to do is use this shortcut called Control N. Another thing that you could do is go to your search bar and type PowerPoint over there. So you will see the app on the left hand side. You can click on the open and a new PowerPoint presentation will open right in front of you. So it's as simple as that. Moving on to the second important thing that one must know in order to create PowerPoint presentation, which is how to insert shapes, pictures or text in a presentation. Let me show you. In order to insert a shape, when you click on this insert tab, which is next to home, you will see all possible options of inserting pictures, icons, shapes, text and a lot more. I'm going to click on this shape icon that you see. There's a small arrow at the bottom. I'm going to click on that and all possible shapes open in front of me. Now choose the shape that you want to insert. So if I want to insert a circular shape, I can just put the shape over here. To increase or decrease the size, I can do that by using my mouse or my keypad, and my shape is here. Now let me show you once again. I'm going on insert, shapes and choosing the shape that I want to insert. Deciding the size, and that's about it. Now let me show you how to insert an image. In order to insert an image, again we will go to the insert option. You will see option of pictures. Click on it and you will see three options. You can insert picture from this device, which means picture from your own laptop, something that you have downloaded or you already have in your system. Or you can insert a stock image, or you can also grab pictures online. I'm going to click on this device and let's say I want to insert this image. Click on the picture, click on insert button that you see at the bottom and your picture will be inserted. Now in order to increase or decrease size of the image, all you have to do is click on the corner of the image and you can just increase or decrease the size by using your mouse or using your keypad. Always remember, whenever you want to change the size, always pick the picture from the corner. Don't do it using the left side or the top side or the bottom side, because you'll end up making your picture look stretched or compressed. Let me show you once again. I'm going to go to insert, pictures, this device, and let's say I want to insert this image, insert, and we are good to go. Now I can increase or decrease the size by just pick the corners and I can make it as big or as small as I would want. Now let me show you how to insert a text box. Again we are going to go to insert and you will see this option of text box right over here. Click on the text box tab and click wherever you want the text box to be. So if I want a text box over here, I'll just write headline font, come here, and we are good to go. So that's how simple it is to insert anything in PowerPoint, be it a picture, a shape or a text box. So you have already learned about how to insert a text box on your slide, but there are a lot more basic things that one must know in order to create presentation. For example, things like how to align text, how to increase the font type, how to increase the font size, how to change from uppercase to lowercase, how to change the font type, color, boldness, outline and a lot more. So let me show you how to do that. Let's begin with font type, size and case. Now in order to increase or decrease size of any font, there are two ways. Either you could go on these icons that you see over here, the bigger A and the smaller a. So the bigger A is of course to increase the size like this. You can just keep clicking till you reach the desired result. If you want to reduce the size, keep clicking on the smaller a. If you want a particular font size, let's say that you have in mind that you want this to be a 52 size, you can also click on this number and type the font size. So I'm typing 52 and my font size has become 52. Alternatively, you can also use this shortcut, which is Control Shift and greater than less than sign, to increase or decrease the font size. In order to increase the font size, click on Control Shift and greater than arrow, and if you want to reduce the size, do the alternate thing, click on Control Shift and less than arrow. So that's how you can change the font size. Now moving on to how to change the uppercase, lowercase, sentence case as per your own convenience. So now in order to change that, click on your sentence, go to this tab that you see which has a capital A and a small a. The moment you get your cursor over here, you will see change case. Click on this arrow and you will see all the possible options. So as the name suggests, sentence case is where your first letter is capital and rest of the sentence is in small case. Lowercase is when the complete sentence is in lowercase. Uppercase is when your complete sentence is in uppercase. And in capitalize each word, the first letter of each word basically will become capital. And in toggle case, it basically plays with the upper and lower case. So I think toggle case is something not really that you use often, but I think it's good to know. So that's how you can change the case. So for example, if I'm choosing sentence case right now, I'm going to make another copy, make it lowercase, make another copy, uppercase, let's make another copy, capitalize each word, and the last one, which is your toggle case. So that's how you can change the font case. Now moving on to how to change the font type. It's very important to choose a nice font for your presentation. Now right now if you see, the font that I have used is TW Send Empty, which is 2 cent empty. Now if I want to change the font type, let's say I'm not liking this font, I'm going to copy it on a new slide, increase the size. Now let's say I want to change this particular font type. All I have to do is click on this, go to this bar that you see which is next to the number, click on the arrow, and you will see all the possible fonts that your system has. So some of the fonts could be internal PowerPoint fonts, or if you have downloaded any external fonts, you can pick from there as well. So I'm going to go for, let's say, Oswald font, and my font has been changed. Let me show you once again. I'm going to make a copy of it here. Now I'm going to change the font again. Click on the text, go to font type, and choose the font that you want to go ahead with. So for example, I want to go ahead with Adobe Fan font, so I'm just going to click on it. So do try out different font types, cases, to understand what sort of font works best for your presentation. Now moving on to the second part of text, which is alignment. Alignment is basically, so within the text box, if you want the text to be left aligned, which is how it is right now, if you want this font to be in the center of this text box, will be center aligned, or you want this text to be on the right hand side, which will be right hand alignment. So for example, right now as you can see, it's already left aligned. I'm going to click on the center one which says center align. So you can see the font has come in the center of the text box. Alternatively, if you want to make it right aligned, you can also click on this one and your text will be on the right hand side. So these are the three alignments which are there. There's a fourth one as well, which is justify, which generally is not really valid over here. In paragraphs you can do that, but for single lines it's not applicable. You can also use shortcuts to align your text. So if you want your text to be left aligned, you can use Ctrl L. If you want your text to be right aligned, you can use Ctrl R. If you want your text to be center aligned, you could use Ctrl E. So Ctrl R for right align, Ctrl L for left align, and Ctrl E for center align. Now moving on to the next part of fonts, which is color, boldness, and underline. So click on the text box, go to the letter, the arrow next to it, which says font color. The moment you click on it, a full menu of colors would open right in front of you. So you can choose whichever color you want to use. For example, I'm going to go ahead with this blue color. Now the color has been changed. In order to make this look bolder, go over here and choose the B button that you see which says bold. Alternatively, you can use the shortcut Control B to make your font, your text look bolder. Let me show you once again. In order to change the color, I can go to the color box and choose a different color. In order to make it bolder, all I need to do is press Control B. To unbold it, you can again use Control B. So that's how you can use the boldness. Now if you want to underline your font, you can either go over here, the tab which says Underline, which has a U icon, or you can also do Control U. Let me show you once again. Choose the text, Control U again, and you will get rid of the underline. Moving on to the next thing, which is bullet points. Now in order to get bullet points, for example, if these are my pointers and I would want bullet points for these, you can go to this tab which you see next to your text. You can click on the arrow and choose from the bullet points that are here. You can also customize them, but right now we are just seeing how to put the bullet points. So if you want, for example, the basic circular bullet point, you can click on it and your bullet points will be here. You can alternatively choose a square one, you can go use a circular one, or you could use the tick marks or these arrows. So depending on your presentation and your choices, you can choose your bullet points over here. Now last but not the least, in text box, what you could also do is have an outline to your text. This is really helpful, especially when you're putting some text over an image. I'm making it bolder by doing Control B, increasing the size. In order to make it look even more attractive, I can go to shape format, go to text outline, and you can choose any color which you want to use to highlight this text. So just make sure that the color that you're choosing should help this text getting highlighted and should not subdue it. For example, I'm using this yellow color. I can make it bigger, and this is how it will look like on the full screen. Moving on to the second element, which is shapes. So we have learned how to insert shapes, but in this one we are going to learn how to change the shape type, how to change the shape size, color and aspect ratio. So let's say we have a circular shape over here and we want to change this shape. Click on the shape, go to edit points and go to change shape. The moment you do that, the entire shape menu will open right in front of you. Now just choose the shape that you want to go ahead with and your shape will be changed. I'm quickly going to show this once again to you. If you want to change this shape, click on this, go to shape format. You will see the edit point option on top left. Click on this arrow, go to change shape and choose the shape that you want to go ahead with and your shape will be changed instantly. Now in order to change the size of any shape, you could increase or decrease the size by clicking on the corners and dragging it inside or outside. Alternatively, you could also go to shape format and choose the size from these dimensions. That is applicable if you know what dimensions do you want. For example, if I know that the height that I want is around 19, I can click on this and you will see my height has been increased. If you want to reduce, let's say, the breadth of the shape, you could go over here and say 15 and your size will automatically change. You could also use shortcut to increase or decrease the size of the shape. Click on the shape, press Ctrl Shift and play with the arrow keys. So I'm pressing the upper arrow and you can see the shape is getting increased from top and bottom. If you want to increase the breadth of the shape, press Ctrl Shift and right arrow key. If you want to reduce, press the left arrow key. If you want to reduce the length, press the bottom arrow key. So that's how you can increase or decrease the size of the shape using just the keyboard. Now in order to change the color of the shape, all you have to do is click on the shape, go to shape fill at the top, click on this arrow and you will see all the possible color options. Choose the color that you want to go ahead with and voila, your color has been changed. Let me come to the last part of shapes, which is aspect ratio. So let me first tell you what is aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is a proportional relationship between an image's width and height. For example, shapes such as square or circle have 1:1 aspect ratio, which means the length, the breadth or the radius is same throughout. If we choose an option like a rectangular shape, the aspect ratio will be different. Now why am I telling you about aspect ratio? So there are two things. So if you want to, let's say, change the size of this circle, to make sure that it's a full circle and there's no discrepancy in that, you can actually go over here and check the dimension. So right now you can see there's a difference of 0.01. It's 10.75 and 10.76. I'm going to make this 75 Now it's a perfect circle. But what happens when you increase the size or decrease the size? The ratio changes, as you can see over here, right? In order to make sure that your ratio stays intact, what you could do is right click, go to format shape. In the shape options, the third option will be size and properties. When you click on it, you can go to size, lock aspect ratio, click on this. Now what happens, this aspect ratio has been logged, which means if you increase or decrease the size, the aspect ratio won't change. You can see it over here. The length, the radius throughout is absolutely same. I'm going to show this once again to you. So if this is my square that I've created, I'm going to check the dimensions and I'm going to make this 4 5 so that it's equal, absolutely perfect square. Now if I'm increasing the size like this, you can see the proportion and the aspect ratio is going for a toss. I'm going to right click, format shape, click on the size options, lock aspect ratio, and now no matter how I increase or decrease the size, even if I use the shortcut, it will always increase or decrease in the same aspect ratio. Now let's come to the third aspect of our presentation, which is colors. Well, colors, as we all know, is a super important part of presentation. They can actually make or break your PPT. I'm going to show you a few basic things that one must know about colors. So we already know how to fill color, right? So in order to fill color, you can just go over here and choose whichever color you want. Now you can see fixed amount of colors over here, right? These are limited. What if you want to choose a different sort of a color? Can you do that? Well, you absolutely can. All you have to do is click on more fill colors that you see here and you will have a new tab open. So you can either choose the custom color by clicking here and your color will always show at the top one. So current color is the blue one and your new color that you have chosen will show on the top. So you can move this around and keep playing with the colors from this one as well. So for example, if I want to go for this sort of a color which is not available in the color bar, I can click on this and do OK and my color would be changed. The second thing which is really important when it comes to color is transparency. Now how to make any color transparent? I'm going to bring a basic rectangular shape in the background. Choose a color by going to more color fills. I'm going to go for something like this. And in order to make this transparent, all I have to do is right click, format shape, and you will see a transparency option at the bottom. This bar basically decides the transparency level. So you can actually move it and decide how much transparency do you want. In order to make sure that you understand the transparency, I'm going to bring a picture in the background because that will really help you understand the transparency levels. So I'm putting this image in the background. Now look at this. You can increase or decrease the transparency. Let me show you another example. So let's say you have a team slide. You don't want the pictures to overpower the slide since you want them to notice the data that you have on the slide. Put a box on the image, choose your color and make it transparent. So this will give you a really nice tint to your picture and this will also assure that the pictures do not overpower the complete slide. So that's how you can use transparency. Now, there are a couple of things that I thought would be really useful for all of you if you are somebody who's new to presentation. The first thing is outline. Now, whether we talk about the outlines of shape or outlines of image. Now, let me show you what outlines are and what all you can do with that. Now, for this image, if I want to give it a border, the double click on the image, you will see the picture format, picture border over here. Click on the arrow and you will see the color palette to choose the color from. So for example, if I want a black outline, I can just click on black and now you can see the picture has this beautiful outline. You can also increase or decrease the depth or the width of the outline. Again, go to picture format, go to picture border. At the bottom of all the colors, you will see weight option. Go over there and choose the width. For example, if you want to make it a bolder outline, more like a frame, you could go for 4.5 point, 6 pointers or even further if you want. In order to increase the width further, you can just go at the same tab, weight, and click on more lines. On right hand side, you will have the entire menu of outline. So you can make it 7 pointers, you can make it 8 pointer, or you can just type the number. For example, if I want it to be a 12 pointer, I can just type 12 over here and my frame will be thick now. I can change the color from here, make it orange, make it yellow, choose whichever color works for you. You can also change the outline type. For example, if you want it to have two lines like this, or you want to have this sort of thick thin format, if you want to go for a thin thick format, or if you want to go for a compound outline, you can choose the one that you want. For example, if I want to reduce the thickness in this format, I can choose 6 and this will be my outline. Another thing that you can do, which is a new feature, which is in Office 365 only, you could choose to give it a sketchy outline as well. I'm going to go for first a regular outline. Now you can actually go for a sketchy outline like this. So all these options are there for you to choose from. Same for shapes. If let's say if this shape has green color, I want to give it a nice bright outline. Let's say I'm going to give it a yellow outline. I'm going to choose this fluorescent color. Now once I've done that, in order to play with the outlines, I'm going to go to more lines option. And now I can decide if I want the width to be more. Also, just the way we did color transparency, you can also make your outline transparent by playing with this bar. As you can see, your outline is almost getting transparent. Let me change the color so that you can see it clearly. Can you see the outline has been made transparent, right? So you can choose the transparency, you can choose the sketch style if you want to change it. If you want to change the width, you can do that by clicking here. Or if you want to change the dash type, if you want to make it dotted outline, you can do that. If you want to make these dots thicker or bigger, if you want to go for, let's say, bigger dots, increase the distance between each dot. So you can choose from any of these depending on the choices, the design that you're looking for. So can you imagine there's so much that you can do with just outlines. Moving on to the next very important topic of how to group and ungroup items. Now, what is group and ungroup? So this is a very basic timeline that I have created with 4 circles and there are 4 icons inside them with some text. Now, let's say if I want to move things around. If I move a shape, my overall formatting will go for a toss. So you will have to choose all the elements and then move them together. But there's always a doubt of leaving something or the other. What you could do in situations like this when you have multiple elements, especially for the circle and icon, since the icon is inside the circle, choose both the elements. In order to group them, you can right click and do group. The moment you go on group, you will see 3 options. Click on group and your item basically now has become one element. These are not 2 separate elements, they will move together. Now let's say you have done that. You also want to group the text along with that. Choose both the options, right click, group and click on the group. Now this has become one unit. Alternatively, you could also use shortcut. So I'm going to select all 3 elements and press Ctrl G to group them. By just this simple shortcut, your elements will get grouped. In order to ungroup them, you can press Ctrl Shift and G and the elements will be ungrouped. Let's see it once again. I'm going to choose all the 3 elements, Ctrl G to group it. To ungroup it, you can press Ctrl Shift G. All right. So once you have grouped all the elements, now they are one unit. You can also group all these together so that if you have to move them around, you can copy the entire timeline in one go. Or if you have to move them around from, let's say, if you have to change the position, the entire timeline will move together. So that's the advantage of grouping and ungrouping. Moving on to the last key point of today's video, how to send multiple elements to back or bring them to front. Also, let me show you where is this used and how important is this feature. If you look at this slide, there are 3 elements over here. There is an image, there is a shape and also a text. Now let's say we want this image to be in the background. We want this shape on top of the image like a transparency layer, and we want the text to be on the top of that. In order to do that, first of all, we are going to make sure the image is full screen. Now if you see, the text as well as shape are completely hidden behind this image. In order to send this picture to the back, we can right click and do send to back. Alternatively, you can also go to picture format and choose the option from here, send backwards or bring forward. So if we do send backward, once you will see one of the element has come forward and the picture has gone back. If we click twice, you will see the second element also now is in the front. Now moving on, we want the shape layer over it. So I'm going to make this shape full size as per the slide. Let's give it a color. I'm going to go ahead with regular black color. And in order to give it transparency, let's go to format shape and decide the transparency level. So this much looks fine to me. Now we want the text to come in the front, right? So we can choose the text, right click and do bring to front. Now your text is on the front side. Now you can change the color. You can make it white. Whichever color you think stands out the best, you can choose that color and go ahead with that. I'm going to go for this particular color, maybe make it bolder, change the font, and we are good to go. So send to back or bring to front is a really important feature for any sort of slide. So for example, even for a slide like this, if we are putting an icon, to make sure the icon is in the front of the shape, you have to use this tool. So these are some of the features that I thought are really important for somebody who is new to PowerPoint. Now using these features, I'm going to show you two examples of how you can create really nice looking slides. Let's look at this one. It's a very basic slide which has a title. Let's try to transform the entire slide. First of all, we are going to use an image. So we are going to go ahead with this image. Let's increase the size by stretching it from the corners. Now let's put a transparency layer on top of it. Insert shapes. Choose the shape. I'm going to go ahead with green color since we are talking about the environment. Decide the transparency level. Let's see it on full screen. I think this looks nice. We are just going to make sure it stretches till the top. Let's get the title. Decide where you want to place the title. I am now making sure there is space at the bottom to place my content over here. Decide the color. Change the font if this one doesn't work for you. And you are done with your title slide. If you want to highlight this text, one more thing that you could do is you can add a text outline. So right now I've added a basic black outline, but you can see the difference in how the text is getting highlighted. So this is how you can create any slide and transform the look and feel by using these very simple features. Let's look at the second example now. So we have a header and there are 4 pointers which also have sub pointers. Let's try to recreate, in fact transform this slide. I am going to put a shape over here. Let's give it a nice deep blue color. We are going to change the font type. We have changed the alignment and made it center aligned. I'm also going to highlight few words using the boldness feature and also the color. Perfect. Now, let's start with the problem pointers. So from how I visualize it, I'm going to make 4 columns. We are going to highlight the header of each of them. You can change the color to highlight it as well. Now what you could also do is probably add a shape over here in the center. So either you can write 1, 2, 3, 4 here, or alternatively you can also add an image which is in the circle or add an icon. So I'm going to go ahead with an icon. So 4 circles. Let's check the ratio of the circle. 3.14 to make sure it's a proper circle. And I'm going to copy this circle now on all the 4 pointers. I'm also going to select all 4 and make them center aligned. Perfect. Let's move our circles a little as per that. In order to insert icon, I can go to insert, go to my icons and choose the icons which are relevant to your content. Since right now I have the dummy content, I'm just going to choose any 4 random icons just to show you how this slide can look. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Insert. And these are my icons. I'm going to place all of them. I'm reducing the size using the shortcut that I taught you, shift and arrow key, changing the color. So if you see, this is almost like creating an infographic. Also, what you could do is you can also group the items together so that it's easier for you to change location, make any changes if you may have, and we are good to go. So look at this slide versus look at this slide. You can easily see the change in both. So imagine what all you can create using these very simple tricks that I've shown you in this part 1. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I'm going to be covering a lot more tools and tricks in part 2 that will help you create simple and effective presentations. And as I said earlier, this is for everyone, even people who have never worked on PowerPoint. Just through these couple of videos, you will be able to create some really nice looking slides. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and also like and share my videos. Thank you so much.